Once upon a time, in a garden where flowers whispered secrets and vegetables grew taller than trees, there lived two best friends who were nothing alike. Rosie the Rabbit could run faster than the wind. She zipped between carrot patches, hopped over pumpkins, and never, ever walked when she could bounce. Tommy the Turtle moved slowly and steadily. He noticed every dewdrop, counted every petal, and always, always stopped to smell the roses. One sunny morning, all the garden animals gathered at the old oak tree for the annual garden games. There were races, jumping contests, and even a who can eat the most lettuce competition. Rosie stretched her powerful back legs. "I'm going to win every single race today," she announced proudly. Tommy smiled his slow, gentle smile. "That sounds wonderful, Rosie. I'm just excited to try." The other animals whispered to each other. "Poor Tommy," said a sparrow. "He's so slow. He'll never win anything." But the wise old garden gnome who had lived in the garden for 100 years chuckled quietly to himself. He'd seen many races in his time. The first race was simple: run from the oak tree, around the garden fountain, and back again. First one to ring the bell at the finish line wins. "Ready, set, go!" shouted the referee rooster. Rosie shot forward like a streak of brown lightning. Her ears flew back. Her paws barely touched the ground. Within seconds, she was already halfway to the fountain. Tommy took his first slow step, then another, then another. The crowd began to laugh. "This isn't even a race," giggled a butterfly. But Tommy didn't mind. He kept moving forward, one steady step at a time. And as he walked, something interesting happened. He noticed a family of ants struggling to carry a giant breadcrumb up a hill. Without thinking, Tommy stopped and used his shell to help them push it to the top. "Thank you, kind turtle," the ants said gratefully. "You have a generous heart." Meanwhile, Rosie had reached the fountain and was racing back toward the finish line. Victory was certain. The bell was just 20 hops away. But then she spotted something that made her stop completely. Near the lettuce patch, 3 baby bunnies were crying. They'd wandered away from their mother and couldn't find their way home. Rosie's competitive spirit said, "Keep running," but her heart said something else entirely. She looked at the finish line, she looked at the crying babies, she took a deep breath, then she hopped over to the little ones. "Don't worry," she said gently, "I'll help you find your family." Back at the race, Tommy was still moving steadily. He was nowhere near the fountain yet, but he hadn't stopped. Step by step, slow and sure. He passed the spot where the ants had been struggling. They waved their tiny antenna at him. "You're going to do great things," they called out. Tommy smiled and kept walking. At that very moment, Rosie was leading the 3 baby bunnies through the tall grass, searching for their mother. "We're scared," the smallest one sniffed. "It's okay to be scared," said Rosie kindly, "but you're not alone. I'm here with you." Finally, they found the mother bunny near the strawberry patch. She hugged her babies tight, tears of relief in her eyes. "Thank you," she said to Rosie. "You gave up your race to help us." Rosie looked back toward the distant finish line. "The race," she said softly. She'd completely forgotten about it. But as she said those words, something magical happened in her heart. For the first time, finally, Rosie hopped back into view, her fur a bit messy from searching through the tall grass. She wasn't running. She was just walking slowly, a peaceful smile on her face. At the same moment, from the other direction, Tommy appeared, moving at his usual steady pace. They both reached the finish line at exactly the same time. The crowd gasped. "It's a tie!" someone shouted. "But wait," said the referee rooster, looking at his stopwatch. "According to the rules, the race should have ended 10 minutes ago. Technically, you both lost." The crowd went silent. Rosie and Tommy looked at each other. Then something unexpected happened. They both started laughing. "I stopped to help some lost baby bunnies," Rosie explained, still giggling. "And I stopped to rescue a field mouse and help some ants," Tommy added, his eyes twinkling. The wise old gnome stepped forward, his gnarled wooden staff. "I declare," he announced in a voice that made everyone listen, "that both Rosie and Tommy have won today's race." "But they both lost," a confused sparrow chirped. "They lost the race," the gnome agreed, "but they won something far more valuable. They discovered that being kind is more important than being first." He turned to Rosie. "You could have won easily. You're the fastest in the garden, but you chose to help others instead." Then he turned to Tommy. "You knew you couldn't win, but you never gave up. And when someone needed help, you gave it without thinking about the race at all." The baby bunnies hopped up to Rosie. "You're our hero," they said. The field mouse climbed onto Tommy's shell. "You're the bravest turtle I know." The old gnome smiled. "True winners aren't always the ones who cross the finish line first. True winners are the ones who help others along the way." That night there was no trophy for the fastest runner. Instead, there was a celebration for the kindest friends. Rosie and Tommy sat together under the stars, eating fresh lettuce and laughing about their strange race. "You know what?" Rosie said thoughtfully. "I've won lots of races, but I've never felt as happy as I did when I helped those little baby bunnies." Tommy nodded. "And I've never cared about winning races, but today when I helped that little mouse, I felt like I could do anything." From that day on, the garden games changed. There were still races and competitions, but there was also a new award, the biggest and shiniest of all. It was called the Golden Heart Award, and it went to whoever showed the most kindness during the games. Rosie still ran fast because running was what she loved, but now she always kept her eyes open for anyone who might need help along the way. Tommy still moved slowly because that was his pace, but now everyone in the garden knew that slow and steady wasn't just about finishing races. It was about having time to notice when others needed you. And the wise old gnome, he smiled every time he told the story of the race where both runners lost and both runners won. Because in the end, the greatest victory isn't crossing a finish line. It's the kindness you show along the journey. The end. Sweet dreams, little champions. Remember, being kind is always more important than being first. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is stop racing and help someone else. Close your eyes now. Tomorrow is full of chances to be a winner, the kindest way of all. Good night.